Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, the magical PT. I'm here in what's usually sunny South Florida. Not today, though. And I have a physical therapy practice called Body and Soul PT. And it's a very holistic, outside the box practice where I support people in bringing balance not only to their body, but their mind and soul as well. Because no matter how much you balance the body, if the other aspect isn't balanced, you're just going to keep having issues. And in addition to doing physical therapy, I also create healing art and jewelry. And I've been podcasting with my bestie, Allison, for about a year now. So we are on season 2 here of Voices of the Goddess and having a great time.
And almost at 100 episodes.
We're
Season
getting
2
close.
is just about there. I know. It's crazy. So my name is Allison Mancini. I'm excited to be here today. We have an amazing guest lined up for you, our awesome audience. And I am a human resources director for an amazing company called The Gold Digger Girl, where they help women show up on social media authentically. And I'm also a functional nutritionist, and that's my big passion is helping women take care of themselves. And I know firsthand how important our nutrition is to us. And when we don't have good nutrition, it's very possible that our bodies are not handling it so well either. It truly is all about what you put into your body is pretty much what you get out. So it's very important that you put the good stuff in. I'm also a mom to 2 amazing adults, young adults, 25 and 22, and wife to an amazing husband for 28 years, but we've been together for over 30. You know what I always mess up? We moved to Florida in February. We got married the following September. So I always mess up how long I've been in Florida with how long I've been married, because they're almost exactly the same. And see, there goes my dog barking.
So we're in February, the month of love, as we like to talk about it. And so you and I were talking a little bit pre-show about love and food. And I think one of the things I always think is your attitude towards what you're eating greatly affects how it affects you.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, you, the functional nutritionist over there, what do you have to say on food and love?
So the interesting thing is that through my getting my certification and going through a lot of my study and research, one of the women that I'm working with and learning from, she talks about how, our whole process of eating starts way before we even put our food in our mouth. It starts when we start thinking about food and we smell it. Even if we just think, like if you and I sat here and thought about eating lunch, it would actually trigger enzymes and hormones in our body to start activating to really get our bodies ready to eat our food. So she was talking about how important it is that you really, appreciate your food and show it love and thank it and bless it. And so, there's actually research behind this, but we're not going to get into that right now. But the bottom line is that I have really started to slow down. And when I sit and listen, I am the first one to understand I am busy. Like I was laughing when she was talking about this, how take 15 minutes and sit down and eat your lunch and get off all of your phone and your computer, because how many times do we sit in front of the computer and do this and everything, right? She's like, get off everything, sit down, take a moment, look at your food, smell your food, thank your food. There's a reason that over history, people have quote unquote said a blessing before they eat. They're basically giving their food good vibes, right? So I started doing that lately. And one of the things I always say to my food before I put it in my mouth, this sounds really corny, but I feel like it's helping, and it could all be in my head. Who knows? But I just say, like, give my body what it needs, give my body the energy it needs, use this to make my body the best that it can be, because that's what our food is for. Our food is where we get all of our energy. It's where how our cells produce and replicate and do all the great things that they do if we don't have the food and the good nutrition. So I am the worst for it. Like, my husband always says to me, like, you eat food so fast. Like, we can sit down for a family meal and everyone is still not even halfway through their meals and I'm done. So bad. So I've really stopped doing that and just really I am working on and progressing towards appreciating my food, enjoying it more. I mean, girl, you're the foodie freak, like, you got to enjoy your food, right? And it's so important for our bodies. So it's the month of February. Love your food just as much as you love yourself. And that is loving yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Giving your body good things. So, yeah.
So
that's my thing.
All right. This episode is brought to us by Lyrios Massage and Beyond. Welcome to Intuitive Healing. Whether you are looking to recharge and replenish or just come in for a tune-up and a little work, Lyrios Massage and Beyond aims to support your body using various methods and modalities of massage, skincare, energy healing, and more. Their unique intuitive fusion of East and West provides both structural and energetic realignment. From sports massage and deep tissue to cupping and hot stones, they work with your unique situation to provide healing and relief. Visit their calming oasis right here in paradise of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I need to book myself a massage with Marcia. We've talked about this before. She just exudes healing and love, and it's just, yeah.
I only met her for the first time in person that few weeks back. And she just, like, the minute I walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Marcia. Like, I can't, because I'd only ever seen her through a Zoom call or whatever. Right. And oh my gosh, she just, like, she glows love. That's what she does. It's amazing.
Exactly.
All right. Speaking of love.
Yes. And how perfect that this is happening in February.
I know. I love it.
That we have this guest on our show for February. So it was perfect timing. Timing.
So let's bring her on. Hello, Debbie. How are you? Oh, you're muted, friend. You're muted.
Hi. Yeah. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. So, Debbie, please share a bit about you. Tell our audience what you do.
Yes, I help women create sexy, loving marriages with the one they've got. Actually, they can single-handedly transform their marriage and get the intimacy, the love, the connection that they always wanted by making some nice, positive changes in themselves. And when they show up happier, more relaxed, understand their man better, and you rock each other's world in the bedroom, everything just falls into place.
I love how you say that, the woman can create this change herself. Because so often you hear people, if they would only.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what they do. Focus on what you do.
Yeah.
And
I know that's why so much marriage counseling is a failure. It's just it's a place to go and vent and complain about your spouse often. And when I use methods that are based in positive psychology, which is like seeing the good in your life, in yourself, in your man, in your relationship, and get more of that. Traditional therapy and counseling is focusing on what's the pain, what's the problem. And instead, if you focus on what's good, what's working, let's get more of that. Let's focus on that. You transform very quickly.
Where your attention goes, energy flows. So why not focus on the positive?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited for our audience to learn from you and learn more about you. And we're going to just jump right in with our first question. And so question to you is, for our audience, what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I got inspired to get into this work is, one, I endured a long sexless marriage. before creating lifelong intimacy with my husband. So I work with women, generally married women, who want to create love and intimacy and get what they want out of a relationship. And my emphasis, a lot of it comes from being a 20-year listener to radio talk show host Dr. Laura Schlessinger. And so it's always been ingrained in me, like, hey, you know what? Men are simple creatures. They just need a few things. They want your respect, your attention, and they want you to show up in a good mood and be happy and connect deeply with them in the bedroom, because that's often how men feel loved and open up their heartstrings, is through sexual bonding. And so I think that this simple book here, it's called The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands by Dr. Laura, has been an inspiration. And you see, I have it all bookmarked. I recommend it frequently to my clients right off the bat. And it's so many good stories of how women have transformed their entire relationship by just giving a few simple things the man needs, and then they become his goddess, right? What could be better than being your man's goddess? So a lot of self-help focuses on you, but what about you in relationship? That is a nice low-hanging fruit as far as improving your self-esteem, your happiness in life, is if your man adores you. So it's not as hard as people think to become your man's adored woman. So that's what I help women with. So I would recommend that book.
Excellent. So our second question is, what is your top self-care practice and how does that support you?
So self-care is huge in both my life, but it's also huge in my coaching. Can I tell you? So my top practice, can I tell you a little bit about how self-care helps your sex life and relationship? Do you think your listeners would be interested in that?
Yes.
I wrote an article called How Self-Care Helps Your Sex Life and Your Man Will Thank You for Doing It. Right? It means doing things that you enjoy, that make you happy, that make you feel alive, right? And it's preferably something you should do on a regular daily basis. And why is this great for your sex life and not, selfish or frivolous? It's because your romantic partner wants you to show up happy and in a good mood, right? If you're all stressed out and up in your head, you're not doing anybody any favors. And as a woman, you frequently set the tone for the entire family, do we not? Right? So when we are not taking care of ourselves and we show up run down or unhappy, I mean, first of all, we might blame our partner, like, I'm not happy, therefore it must be you. When really we're the ones that are largely can affect our own happiness levels. So if we take care of ourselves, we show up happier. And that's great for our love life, our sex life even, because stress is the biggest killer of libido and desire for both men and women. So showing up stressed is not only going to kill, we're probably not going to be making love as often, and that's not going to be good for a relationship. But our turn on as a woman largely comes from our mind and our heart. Right. So if we're not keeping our love tank full in our mind with, positivity, in our heart with emotional connection, we're probably not going to be in the mood. So by showing up happy and in a good mood, we also, have you noticed, magnetically draw our man to us like a magnet, right? When we're happy and in a good mood, we're irresistible. So in other words, there's a lot of, advantages to your relationship and your sex life from doing self-care.
So, I forgot to mention this. What's your self-care?
Okay. So here's what I do. I am like many women, I'm a big multitasker. So I like to do self-care that combines like 3 or 4 different things at one time. And that is, I've got 2 dogs. They want to be walked every day. So I get exercise. I get out in nature. I make my little creatures happy, right? Sometimes we go on an exercise to get like my heart rate up, but other times we just go on a sniffing tour and we take it as slow as the dogs want to go, right? So it makes my dogs happy. Often I will listen to music, and music is a mood booster. Or I'll talk on the phone with somebody, which is also, connecting and mood boosting, or listen to a podcast because self-growth and curiosity, right? So So it's like 4 different things at once to get in there. And then did I even mention exercise? Oh, exercise is great for your mood. It's a stress reliever. And here's a couple things you didn't know about. It's also good for your sex life because exercise makes you feel better about your body. Does it not? You feel better, even just a bit of exercise. And it also gets blood flowing to the body, which is important in arousal. So there you go. Self-care. I go get lots of different benefits out of it.
Yeah, I love that just getting out in nature and walking and exercise, no doubt about it. And I actually really love how you said the sniffing tour. I have a good friend who's a dog trainer who tells me all the time, you need to walk it's good to walk your dogs, but sometimes you just need to let them do, like you said, a sniffing tour and just let them enjoy because that works their brains. That's what keeps them entertained, right? So I love that. I love all that. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I know you do that too as your self-care.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I love to walk. I'm getting outside. That's why I'm a little bummed it's raining out today. It makes it a little challenging. But so our next question to you is, when you're having one of those days when it's just difficult to show up, whether it's a bad day or moment or whatever, what tool do you pull out of your back pocket so that you can make it happen, get the things done you need to do?
Yeah, I guess I would say just do it, right? I mean, it doesn't do any good to sink back in bed and watch Netflix and things like that. So often, you have to do it. So might as well fake it till you make it, I would say is a big thing.
Yeah.
If you put a smile on your face, if you start say, if you're going to work and you just say hello and you smile at people, well, suddenly you find yourself surrounded by smiling, happy people. Right. And your brain doesn't really know if you are smiling and projecting energy, you actually fool your brain into feeling more up and optimistic. So I would say, don't let yourself get into a funk, maybe get some exercise. And while you're out, chat with some people you see and smile. And, suddenly you'll feel like your mood is lifting. So that is something that I do.
So I once read about I think it was an author or something, and this all kind of ties together, that he was talking about gratitude, and he talked about how he and his wife were kind of going through just a rough spot in their marriage. And he was given the suggestion to create a gratitude journal about his wife, basically just every day to write down something about her he was grateful for. And I feel like it kind of ties into what you're saying right now about kind of faking it till you make it. And right. Because he wasn't feeling all these great feelings about his wife, but because he started every day purposefully finding something that he really was grateful for her about, eventually his whole demeanor changed, his energy changed towards her, their relationship started to change. And then I guess he gave it to her as like a gift at like the end of the year. So she had this huge journal of all the things that he was grateful about her. And he was like, of course, like I was like a rock star in her eyes because she was given this amazing journal. But I find that, I think even like the fake it, and I don't know what you tell in your work with the couples you work with, but there are definitely times where I am not my husband's biggest fan, and and I have to fake it till I make it, and just smile and give him the love. But it is interesting to me if like I said in the beginning, we've been married for 28 years, we've been together for over 30. And if I'm struggling with being supportive and loving and all of those great things to him, if I quote unquote fake it and just put that out there, I start feeling that way almost within minutes or a few minutes. So I like.
And you've avoided terrible consequences.
Yeah.
If you had let your mood dictate and you told him what you really thought about him, that you would cause so much damage, you'd be working your way out of it for days or longer.
Right. And and I think that's well, not necessarily, and when I say maturity, I don't mean maturity of age. I just mean maturity in like general, like 15, 20 years ago, I would have been of the mindset, no, he was a jerk. He's going to pay I'm going to let him know he was a jerk and I'm going to harp on that. You know what I mean? And I think it was just immaturity, inexperience, whatever that was. Now, like if we have an argument or something we don't agree upon, I'm like, okay, we don't agree upon that. What, you know what, is it really a big deal? And like in the end game, will I really care that he didn't agree with me on this fact? No, I don't. So I just kind of move on. But yeah, I think it's a
question of skills too. Just people are being encouraged. They don't even know that you don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. You know, you don't have to tell this person what's on your mind all the time. Sometimes it's better to be kind. Yeah. But back to gratitudes, I would actually do that practice one better. What you described is it's great to focus on gratitude, but I'll leave your listeners with something that's even one better than that, which is when you notice something that you appreciate, admire, respect, find attractive about your man, make a note of that every day and tell him.
Yeah.
It's so rare that he hears this. And you know what happens when you show him appreciation? A good man responds. This is why my clients, that often they're skeptical. Like I talk to a lot of women and they're like, oh, I'm not going to work with you because it's all him, right? He's the problem. He's the one that needs to change. And I'm like, that may be true. He may need to change. And here's how you change him. You show up differently and he will change because a good man responds. When you show up happy and in a good mood, when you act like his girlfriend again, right? I know you've been married 27 years, but wasn't it fun when you were boyfriend and girlfriend? You show up like his girlfriend again. He loves it. He eats it up. He becomes the man who courted you.
Yeah.
So yes, you
very
can
true,
man, but you do it by changing the way you show up.
Yeah, very true. Yep.
All right. Question number 4, Debbie, is, and yes, we are all an accumulation of everything that's happened to us, but we all have those experiences in our life that have played a big role in forming who we are today. So what experience was that for you that has most formed who you are today?
Well, I think it's probably, my current marriage. My husband is wonderful. I love him. I adore him. And so that was part of my inspiration. I used to be an attorney. So it was, and then my daughter actually ended up interested in mental health because of my daughter as well. But that's another story. But anyway, so my husband we have such a loving relationship. But for instance, he's been divorced twice. His ex-wives did not know how to get the best out of him. I think he's perfect and wonderful and amazing, and they just did not know how to get the best out of him. Whereas I also was married in a sex-starved relationship. So I had a lot of years to contemplate the lack of, love in my life and things like that. So I'm very much a romantic, and I really value that. So I would say, who you marry is, like, in my case, so important. If you chose wisely and you treat kindly, you can really be happy. And this can be your greatest source of joy in life. But if you didn't choose wisely, like, my first time around, for instance, then it can be your biggest source of pain in life, right? Your intimate relationship. So choose wisely, treat kindly, learn to rock each other's world in the bedroom and be lovers and keep the spirit of boyfriend and girlfriend alive. And that is, to me, largely secret for my happiness and for, I believe, many others. So that's what I would say.
I love how you said to stay as boyfriend and girl.
Yeah, be your
husband's
husband's
so true. Like, well, boyfriend
is a fun place to be.
Yeah, we were so, like, even I think about my husband and I, we met I was 20 when we met. And, of course, we were so respectful and so kind and loving and attentive and all of those things, right? And then you get married and life starts to happen and you just forget to do those things. And we ourselves, we went through our struggles in, like, I would say in our 30s during our marriage. We had young children and we had to remember and reprogram ourselves to be that, like, loving boyfriend and girlfriend and remind each other of all the great things.
Couples often slip into, a parent-child relationship where you feel like you're mothering your husband, right? Yeah. And he hates that, doesn't he?
So true.
it feels like, oh, we're really nurturing, but he hates it because it's a sign of disrespect for him and that he's not a real man. And it's just like, it also kills the erotic because Freud was wrong. Nobody really wants to be, have sex with their parent, right? So you don't feel that excited about him because he feels like a child to you. He doesn't want sex with his mother. So, turning that around and shaping into the girlfriend dynamic is the antidote for that.
Yeah.
Another way couples often fall into is being rivals. Rivals also will kill your sexual dynamic and your desire to want to please and delight each other. So don't compete with your man. Another way is don't be roommates. People fall into roommate mode where they're just like, they lose all the attraction and passion. And that also is not sustainable over the long run. Yeah. So that's why I say girlfriend mode's the way to go.
Yeah. Love that. All right. Well, to kind of wrap things up here today, what would you say is one thing you would want our audience to remember from our time together?
Well, that if you are not having a good relationship or enjoying, because my focus is also on sexuality, I'm helping women overcome blocks because frequently what's going wrong is a block that's coming from our head, either, many different issues, worthiness, confidence, body issues, the lack of being able to relax, prioritize our love life, and such. So it's coming from our head or it's coming from our heart. Like we don't feel emotionally connected. We don't feel safe. So these are blocks to intimacy. So I would say that if you struggle in the area of your relationship with your man or your sexual enjoyment and pleasure and such, it's not that you're broken. It's that these things are complicated. No one teaches us really relationship skills and pleasure and lovemaking skills. No one teaches us that. And they are learned skills, both of them. So you're not alone. You're not broken. These are learned skills that you probably haven't learned. And maybe you need support and guidance. And that's where I help open minds and hearts to a new way of looking at self, partner, and life. And maybe you just need support and guidance. It's like, so that's why I founded my business, More Intimacy. And I took the name because what intimacy usually means to a woman is this kind of open, loving connection and vulnerability. But when you ask a man, what does intimacy mean to you? He's going to more likely than not say sex. And so men and women are wired differently, and we shouldn't hate or blame each other for it. We need to learn to thrive with our differences and celebrate our differences. And so that we can both get the kind of intimacy, love, connection we both desire.
Yeah. I love how you said that, not to, like, to our audience, not to feel if you're struggling in this area, you're not broken, and that it truly is a lot of, that relationship, it's learned skills that you're right. We certainly aren't learning that in school. So, cause that we're learning about math and how to read in school.
Or wish sex ed, how to put a condom on a banana.
Right? Like, I wish that our schools, and you have children, right? Yes. Yeah. I wish that our schools would teach our kids how to live in the real world more and not so much of this, whatever. Anyways, that's a whole nother subject, but I appreciate that you said that it is skills that can be learned. And I would encourage anyone that if you're struggling to reach out to Debbie. She sounds like she'll be awesome help.
And coaching is fun. It's not therapy, right? We don't need to drag back into your family of origin and to, all those issues. Like I said, it's often skills-based, mindset-based, things that you don't know, and designing solutions that are future-oriented, that are authentic to you. It's not therapy and back, facing often.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, how much perfect timing that we have you on our show in February during the month of love.
Yeah.
And
Make love more often. That's the thing. You want to be happier? Also make love more often. If you're struggling, all those problems you had you're like, it was wonderful at the beginning, right? Whose marriage wasn't like wonderful at the beginning? And then what happened? Well, you were making love around the clock back then. That could be one factor.
Might be, yes.
Oh, but yes, thank you so much for joining, and thanks for sharing all your wisdom in the area of intimacy and relationship. We very much appreciate that. Also want to send a big thank you to our sponsor for making this show happen, Lyrios Massage and Beyond. And thank you to all of our listeners. And if you liked what you heard today, please go on and subscribe, follow, like, and share. And also, if you need to get in contact with Debbie, Allison, or myself, check out the show notes. All of our contact information is available there. And I want to wish everybody a magical day.